giveaway, so I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. So tonight we have a great session planned for you. We're going to explore pink and what it offers as a well-loved and used colour, and I'll also talk about our giveaway. But before we begin, let me talk to you about how our session rolls. So for the first half an hour, I will be on screen to talk all things colour, products and projects, and can certainly recommend products because we do have a wonderful portfolio of products designed to protect and beautify your space. So very happy to help you with products for any of your projects. I will be streaming live for the next half an hour in front of the camera to talk all things, as I've just talked about, colour, products, projects, etc. And it's a great opportunity for you to pop any questions that you do have into the feed, and I will certainly do my best to answer them all for you. If you do have any images that you would like some assistance with, perhaps some recommendations on colour, if you hold off until I finish streaming, you can pop the images into the feed then, because while we're live, it's very hard, actually it's impossible to pop images in. So hold off until then with just images, but start giving us your questions now. So I'm going to also remind you about the competition that we have happening this evening. So what is it you're asking? Let me tell you. I've got a few notes here so that I do not go off track. So what you need to do is, visit our session. So you're in the session, you can see it pinned to the top of our Taubmans Facebook page. Tag 3 friends in the comments section and follow the Taubmans Australia Facebook page. Now, what do you win? Okay, so a lucky winner is going to win a 1-hour online colour consultation with myself. 1 times 4 litre Taubmans Sealing White, 1 times 4 litre Taubmans 3-in-1, 1 times Taubmans 4 litre water-based enamel, and also a Taubmans 10 litre Taubmans Endure, which is fantastic. So that is a fantastic prize. So you're certainly covered. Oh, and I also forgot, you're also going to receive 4 Colorsmith sample pots. So, and we're actually going to talk a little bit about Colorsmith this evening as well, because as you can probably see, I've got Barbie with me this evening. Barbie's certainly trending, and we've been asked quite a lot about paint colours, in particular pink, that sort of, works or is inspired by Barbie. So behind me there's a little bit happening there, and we'll talk about that as we go through this evening. So certainly use it as an opportunity, as I said earlier, to pop your questions into the feed. I'll do my best to answer them all for you, and I'm going to begin. So this evening we are going to talk all about pink. Pink seems to be a colour that is very much trending, not only in the sphere, related to Barbie, all things Barbie, but it's certainly a colour that's come to life, and I'm seeing a lot of it being used for things like front doors. We're going through lots of different trends that are evolving and happening, and you'll see later on, once we launch our colour forecast, etc., you'll see some beautiful colours that sort of play to that, and that, do involve a little bit of pink, if you like. So as we know, it's generally, pink's made from red and white. Red's can be described as being passionate and an energetic colour. And white tends to lend itself to being purity and innocence. So combined, they create, a beautiful range of soft pinks to vibrant pinks to pinks that have varying undertones. Some tend to sit more on, pink's just not pink. So you've got pinks that I'll refer to as sort of more dusty pinks, pinks that sit on the edge, almost playing into that neutral space where they tend to be a little bit more sort of nude. So there's a slight, if you like, sort of browny undertone to them, which I think are fantastic tones and beautiful tones to pair back with greens, etc., which you'll see trending at the moment, and especially those dusty pinks. And I guess, you could say, because we're going through one of the trends that sort of, I guess you could say is emerging or is in full flight, and it will be for a while, I dare say, is biphthalic design, which is where we like to bring the outdoors in. And you're probably thinking, well, how does pink work with that? Well, when you're looking at the outdoors, there's lots of colours that play into that space. Primarily green, you've got beautiful organic greens, you've got beautiful browns, etc. But then don't forget, when you look at something that's happening in nature, like looking at a fantastic sunset, etc., where you get those beautiful varying shades of pink. So they can be introduced into sort of that design trend as well, if you like. And pink tends to work extremely well with green. When you look at, and you've heard me talk about this before, when we're looking at color and you're wondering where you start, you know, having a color wheel and looking at what sits on the opposite side, known as a complementary color scheme. So you've got red, you've got green, they sit opposite. And then when you start to add tint, tone and shade, which is adding, white, gray or black, you start to get variants of those colors. So hence pink comes to life. So that's why it sits so well with green. So, I mean, I could talk about this all night, but I've got to make sure that I get through everything I want to get through. And I've just got Nancy saying hello. Hello to you, Nancy. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen because I've got a few visuals that I'd like to take you through, and then I can talk to it a little bit more. So hopefully it all works well. Beautiful. Okay, and I'll pop myself up in the corner. Happy days. Okay, so I know we're talking about interiors tonight, and we really are going to play to that, but I did want to bring in the front door very quickly and just give you a beautiful range of pinks that work extremely well with your front door, or for your front door. And one thing that I have popped here, and you can see, so you've got the names of the colors, but below you've got the LRV, so which is the light reflectance value, and we cover that quite a lot. And it's really important, again, when we talk about front doors, ensuring that a color sits from 50 or higher. So anything from 50 down to 0. So you've got 0 being black, 100 being white. So if you imagine halfway point going down to 0, you're getting colors that are going to be quite dark, quite intense. And on a front door, it risks the door drawing the heat and then expanding, contracting. So we like to go the other way, being 50 or greater, so your color is mid-tone to a lighter tone, and we know that it will work extremely well on a front door. It's not going to have the front door twisting and warping, etc. So that's why I have included the LRV. So some beautiful tones there. A beautiful soft pink called Canyon Pink. I think if you are embarking on painting the exterior of your home and you're looking for a fantastic pink for your front door, this is the one. And also we have a beautiful color called Taylor Rose. You can see there, and I know we're looking on a screen and it depends what you're seeing, because obviously the pixelations in the screen can sometimes make colors appear a little bit different. But that one there has more of a neutral sort of brown undertone, you can see. And then the third color, Recently Rogue, is sort of going into sort of that dusty sort of pink again. Beautiful tones. Like I said, if you're embarking on a front door revamp, have a look at these colors, and I think it's a great place to start. And what I would recommend is that you get yourself a sample pot and test it on a piece of cardboard, 1 meter by 1 meter square, just to ensure that you love the color. But when we're talking about gloss, when you gloss up a color, it tends to intensify the color a little bit. So once your sample that you create is dry, get a piece of clear sticky tape, pop it over on the corner part of the sample that you're making, and have a look and see how the color intensifies. So that sticky tape, if you like, kind of portrays what it's going to look like in a gloss. And the product I would recommend all the way for you, for your front door, is to use something which is called Taubmans water-based enamel. It's fantastic. Being a water-based enamel, it's non-yellowing, so the colors that you choose are going to stay true to color. So that's quickly exploring pink for a front door. I'm getting a lot of questions here, so I'll quickly go through this and then I'm going to answer all of these questions. Okay, so the bedroom, here we go. I think there's a, you know, I've talked to a lot of people, and I've been standing in Bunnings at the colour wall, helping our lovely consumers with colour. And, you know, the minute I mention pink, people go, oh, you know, and especially I think some people tend to think pink is only for females. Not true. Like, you can get some beautiful pink tones, again, to paint within a space that aren't overly pink and aren't overly girly. So I've given you 3 tones on the screen here, and the last one, called Beige Pink, is certainly, if I could say, more gender neutral, if you like. So you could paint your bedroom in that, and I'm sure your husband's going to love it. and you can pair it back with some beautiful deep teal tones, navy, etc., and it would work extremely well. And the other two are another couple of my favorite beautiful soft pinks that will create that beautiful romantic feel for a bedroom if you like. Okay, now the next color, if you like, kitchen and bathroom. Now we know that pink is very much trending in the bathroom space, and I think it looks fantastic. And what you can do is, if you're wanting to, some people think, I don't want to put too much color in a bathroom because we don't want to stop that light from bouncing around in the spacing and keeping it light and airy and open. But what you could do if you're wanting to paint your walls pink, you know, just pair it back with a nice clean white tile that's going to maintain that brightness. And you know, you can change your lighting to ensure that, say, your LED downlight is a really clean, bright white that's going to help to brighten up the space as well. But these are some of my favorite tones if you're working on or you're thinking of doing a bathroom. Radiant Rogue is fantastic. Alberta Rose, it plays in that space again of being a little bit more neutral, sort of more on the dusty side. And then you've got Fetching Pink again, which is another beautiful tone, but it tends to have a slight, if I say brown, neutral undertone as well. So it's going to work again to create more of that gender neutral space if you like. So what I'm going to also, here we go. As we all know, Barbie is trending. And I haven't actually been to see the Barbie movie, but my two daughters have, and a lot of people, you know, are talking, and there's a lot of hype around it. And it's sort of taken me back to when I was a child and I had the most wonderful Barbie doll collection, etc. So I've been asked, and we like to keep these sessions real, and I have been asked quite a lot for, you know, a Barbie-inspired pink. So what I have done is, as you can see on the screen there, I've created with Colorsmith some beautiful tones that are inspired by Barbie, and also a blue that is inspired by Ken, just to give you, I guess, some inspiration for yourself, that if you're wanting to create a color or inject a beautiful pink for your daughter's bedroom or whatever it may be, or a cubby house, or etc., etc., these are fantastic colors. This is a way that you can do it and you can create your own. So I'm going to now take you through. I'm going to just come back, okay, just in case my technology fails me. And I will quickly, I'll come back on now. We should be good. Oops. Oh, we'll go again. Third time lucky. Okay, so you can see here, we have a fantastic color creation tool, if you like, or color creation app, which is absolutely amazing. And there's a couple of ways that you can use it to create your own bespoke colors. And so here on the screen now, if you're wanting to follow me, you certainly can. There are a couple of QR codes there. So depending on whether you have an Apple iPhone or you have a Samsung or Google Play, etc., you can download the app. Now the app is situated, you can see it on the top of the screen there. It's a C and it stands for Colorsmith. So I'm going to tap into it and show you how you can create color. So open up the app, you're brought to a screen that looks like this. So there are two ways that you can create color. So you could take yourself down to, you know, Bunnings, and on our Taubmans color wall, we have a Colorsmith kiosk, which has a reader there, and you can scan objects. It may be something like this, you know, I've got a Barbie colouring in book here, and it may be that you scan the pink or you scan the top, etc. And from that, you can then start to create colour. But for tonight, I'm going to show you how you can take a photo or use a photo that's in your camera roll and make your own colour. And that is how I created the colours I have behind me. So it's a matter of tapping on Create from Match. Then I'm going to go into the photo library. And I'm going to bring up, let's just bring up what I had on screen before. And it's brought up a beautiful pink straight away. So what it does is you can upload an image, and then the eye, how clever is that? Here's the eye. So I'll pop the eye in the corner there. You move, watch the band of color underneath where it says tap to create color. So I could sort of go down the beautiful striped dress that Barbie is wearing. I can go over to the colouring in book here, and from that you can extract a colour that you love and then create your own. So I'm going to now hit select, and this is where you can play and create. So on the screen there, you've got the ability, you know what, I can lessen the intensity or heighten the intensity, so I can make the color brighter or more muted depending on what we're after, but I'm going to leave it as it is. Now I'm going to hit save my color. You can call it whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to call it pink, if I can spell. Let's hope that works. My pink is inspired by Barbie. So then I'm going to save color, and here we go. So and what do I do from here? If I tap where it says order in store, it populates a QR code. That QR code I can take down to my local Taubmans store. I can take it into Bunnings. You know what? I can share that across all of my social media platforms. I can airdrop, text, email, etc. And I can even order through the Colorsmith app. I can order a sample pot of color and have it delivered to my door. That is how easy it is. Okay, so let me just come back on camera. And what I'll do is, hopefully this all works the way I want it to work. Beautiful. So that's what we have there. These are the colors that I've created. So what I'll do is I will share all of these colors in the feed this evening for you all, and then you can create your own colors. That is how easy it is. And you can see behind me, I'll come back on the screen. You can see behind me I've got the colors here inspired by the wonderful Barbie. And again, here are the colors here. They're the most beautiful tones of pink, inclusive of a beautiful blue. So now we've had a little bit of fun talking about pink, talking about colors inspired by Barbie. I'm going to go through all of the questions that I have in front of me now. Okay, it looks like we've got quite a few. That's fantastic. Thank you everybody for joining us. So the first question I have is from Lynn. Hi Lynn, thank you very much for joining us this evening. I'd love some colour advice. Whites are not just white. So true. Whites vary, and the way I like to describe whites, so you've got a cool white, you have a warm white, and then you have a white that plays in a neutral space, sort of in between. So a cool white is a fantastic choice of white to use in areas that are saturated with lots of natural sunlight. And a warmer white works really, really well in areas that lack a lot of sun, if you like. And what they tend to do is they tend to warm the space up slightly. And colours that sit in the middle, being described as neutral, work really well sort of in both environments. So if you're not sure where to start, I'm going to give you my favourite white. And anybody that's watching us again is about to say exactly that. They know what I'm about to say. It is a colour called Taubmans Crisp White. It is the most beautiful white. I have it in my house. I have it on my ceilings, walls, doors and trims. I do have other colour as well, I can assure you. But it just works a treat. And areas that lack light, it works really, really well. And then areas that are saturated, because I'm in Queensland, as everybody knows, and I get a lot of natural sunlight in my kitchen, living areas, and the colour just performs beautifully. What makes it so wonderful is when you look at what goes into white, so the tint, Crisp White has raw umber, which is it's a murky sort of brown, but it gives the white the most beautiful soft glow. So that would be where I would start. Lynn, if you're wanting whites that have more colour, come back to me and I'm happy to give you a few other suggestions. Not a problem at all. So thank you very much. Okay. Hi Lisa, thank you very much for joining us this evening. I'd like your recommendation. You're saying, hi Fiona, I'd like your recommendation for a warm white. You'd recommend that would work with a light grey quartz wall cladding. Okay, so I guess, Lisa, the grey, a light grey, is it more of a blue grey? Is it more of a more of a neutral grey, so it has sort of that slight green undertone, because that will help determine sort of the tone of the warm white that I suggest. But I'm going to start with one that I think could work really, really well. And it seems to be my new favourite white, because we are tending to find whites are starting to warm up a little bit more. It's due to the trend. We've got that modern Mediterranean aesthetic that is trending big time, with beautiful things like travertine and terrazzo, etc. And so we're finding that whites are taking a shift to being a little bit more intensified, if you like, so, and a little bit warmer. So a beautiful white that I would suggest is a colour called, and I don't know, well, you can see it, it's the second one down, it's called Aria Ivory. It's, as I said, it's my new favourite white, and that's going to work beautifully with greys. It just depends on the tone of your grey. So come back to me, let me know a little bit more, and then I can offer some further suggestions. Thank you. Okay. I'm just looking at lots of the questions that I have here. Okay, Antonietta, thank you very much for joining us this evening. What colours are in vogue for painting outside, please? Okay, so, wow, there's lots of things happening when we talk about outside facades, and it's going to also depend on where your house is situated. So, you know, whether you're coastal, whether you're in more of a rural bush setting, etc. So we're seeing coastal homes, we're seeing lots of, I guess you could say greys, but really more on that blue side. And we're also seeing, so there's a beautiful colour that I automatically think of, which is called Oyster Bar. Let me see if I can find that. Here we go. Which is that colour there, and that seems to be trending when we talk about exterior facade in a coastal environment, along with whites. Whites seem to be very much a happening thing, and I do believe that whites will be for quite a long time. But we're also seeing the warmth not only being playing out inside, if you like, but also in an external environment. So you can see some beautiful beige / greyish, so grey with more of a brown undertone starting to play out as well. But I guess what really is important is understanding what other elements you are working with. So it's things like your existing roof colour, windows, what else sits on the facade? Do you have a particular colour brick that you're working with, etc. Those things need to be taken into consideration when we start to build an external colour scheme. So I'm happy to go into it a little bit more for you. If you want to give me a little bit more information about what you're hoping to achieve and what already exists, I would be very happy to suggest some further colours. Oh, hi Sharon, love pink, hubby, not so much lol. Yeah, I understand. I did threaten my husband. I said in our next time, I'm having pink flamingo wallpaper in the powder room along with a pink door. He's not that keen on it, but we're working on it. Okay, so Stacey, thank you very much for joining us. I've been wanting to paint my passage doors a black shade, but I'm scared. What's a great natural black colour? Okay, that's a really good question, because we do have quite, when we talk about blacks are almost a little bit like white as well. You've got a neutral black, but then you've got blacks that have, some of them have more of a purple undertone, more of a green undertone, you know, a red undertone. Some even have a blue undertone. So it just depends. But a very neutral sort of black, I'd send you to have a look at a colour called All Black. And also there's another fantastic black, which is a colour called Trendy. So if you have a look at those two, I think that's a really good place to start. If you want any further information, please pop something else into the feed. I'll be very happy to give you some more suggestions. Okay, hi Jess, thank you very much for joining us this evening. And your question, hi Fiona, I'm looking for a white for a very dark living room with not much natural light. I touched on it before. I would start your white journey with a colour called Taubmans Crisp White. Beautiful white. It is the most gorgeous white. I could talk about it all night. Maybe I should just do a whole session on crisp white. Maybe I will one night. It's a fabulous white. It's very adaptable, works in all spaces, and that would be where I would begin your journey. But what I will say, and I think it's really important, and I reiterate this several times in every session, it's the power of a sample pot and the power of testing the color in your own space. So as I mentioned before, getting a meter by a meter piece of cardboard, brushing out 3 coats. The first coat's going to aid as an undercoat, and then the further 2 coats are going to aid as your top coats, because generally we have a 2-coat system. So going to Bunnings, our paint comes in on pallets, and in between they have what's called, in between the layer of paints, they have what's called pallet liners, which are large pieces of cardboard. If you can acquire one of those, you're going to want to cut the cardboard to be a meter by a meter square, brushing out those 3 coats. When dry, this is what I recommend. So here's your wall, here's your floor. Testing your color, laying it up against the wall so it's touching the floor, so that your color, you can see how it's going to perform, because there are things within your space that will influence your color. And primarily when we're talking about whites and lighter colors. So, you know, it's your floorboards, it's things like, I'll use this analogy, if you've got a hot pink lounge, that lounge can potentially influence that wall color. Now the other place to trial, so here's your wall, here's your ceiling. You're popping that piece of cardboard on the wall, up near the ceiling there, and then what you're going to do is you can see how that color works in in natural light and also artificial lighting, because color will change obviously through the times of the day, when you've got full sun, when you don't have much sun, and then under your lighting. So it's really important to understand how the color works for you in the environment. I think that is the best advice that I can give anybody, and a sample pot is the best investment that you can, you know, do for yourself. So that is what I would recommend, Jess. If you want any further color suggestions, please pop something else into the feed. Very happy to assist. Octavia, yes, it is. Look, it's a really good tip when we start to talk about how the color is going to look when you gloss it up, because the color can intensify and look quite special. So, and it's a great way to see how. Okay, hi Sharon. If your bathroom is quite shaded, would these pinks make the bathroom look even darker? I guess it depends what else you have within that space. So, you know, if you've got white tiles, the light's going to reflect off the tiles. So it's going to bounce off, and it's going to help to make that room stay quite bright. And it's also going to depend on the level of lighting that you have as to how that color is going to look within your space. But as I just mentioned, always testing the color via a sample pot, and then you can see how it's going to work in your space. Certainly, if you're looking at those colors and you think, you know what, maybe it's a little bit too dark for me, you can certainly look to lessen the intensity of the color and lighten up the color, and have a color that's not as chromatic or not as saturated, and that can work equally as well. Okay. What else have we got here? I've got so many questions. I'm just trying to filter through, because I know that I'm going to be running out of time in a couple of minutes. Okay. Okay, so hi Michelle, thank you very much for joining our session. So you were saying, hi Fiona, I have a bedroom with not much sunlight. I'm painting the walls white house, half strength, and the doors all black. I'm conflicted on what colour to paint the trims and ceiling. I want the room to feel bigger. I think that the same colour as the door is out, as it would make the room feel smaller, I think. I'm conflicted if I go brilliant white for both, or do I go white house in either half or quarter strength? What will make the room feel bigger? Okay, so generally when you want to make a space feel bigger, sometimes going lighter in the space and then doing your walls, ceilings, doors and trims all the one colour tends to create the illusion of more space. And here's why: because when you've got your wall painted a particular colour and then you've got a white ceiling, where the wall meets the ceiling, the eye tends to stop. just, you know, it naturally stops there and it kind of sizes the room up, etc. But when it is the one color, the eye looks and continually goes up and over, which helps to create the illusion of more space. So I'm thinking if you went White House quarter, I'm just concerned that potentially that may be, if the room is small, that, and you're wanting it to look, make it feel lighter and brighter, quarter strength may potentially make the room feel, because it's a darker color, it may make the room feel smaller. So I'm thinking if you kept it lighter by having a white ceiling and then white doors and trims, that's going to help to brighten up that space, I guess. That's probably the way I would tend to say to go, just because I think White House is the most beautiful color. But I'm wondering, let me just look at the LRV. I'm wondering whether, yeah, I'd potentially go, you could go, here we go. Maybe I'm going to contradict myself here. Let me just see. Actually, if you're going half strength and then if you went quarter strength, it could work. But what I would suggest first is test it via a sample pot. So get yourself a sample pot of the quarter strength and test it. Brush out that piece of cardboard and then, you know, place the cardboard flat, sort of upside down, so you're looking at it and you're seeing how it's going to look in the space, and then make the decision if you think it's going to be too dark. That's what I would suggest. Otherwise, the other alternative is certainly to do your doors and your ceiling, doors and trims, sorry, and your ceiling in brilliant white, which will keep that lightness, keep that space light. Sorry, we got there in the end. I'm thinking and talking. Okay, what else do I have? Actually, I don't have time. All right, oops, I've gone over time. So what I'm going to do now, everybody, is I'm going to hop off the screen, but I will be sitting behind the computer for a further half an hour to answer the rest of the questions and any further questions that do come through. I will upload some images and I'll give you some links to some colors that I'm talking about tonight as well, just to help you, where I've referenced things like crisp white, etc. Because if you are embarking on a white journey, it is a great place to start. And I'll also pop the link in for Aria Ivory, which is my second best white at the moment. Anyway, all right. Thank you very, very much, everybody, for joining us. It's been a fantastic session. I can't believe the time's gone so quickly. And I'll also pop a link in to Colorsmith, so that if you're wanting to create your own color, like I've shown you this evening, super, super easy. And then you can start to create your own beautiful bespoke colors to create some fantastic spaces. So thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget about our competition. As far as I know, it's going to be drawn, I think it's tomorrow. I'm hoping I'm telling you the right thing. I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow that it's going to be drawn. And we usually send out, I believe, with this competition, it's a private message. So for everybody that's entered, make sure you check your inboxes, etc. So thanks for joining us. Like I said, I'll be behind the scenes for a further half an hour to answer any further questions. So keep them coming. And again, we'll be back here next week. But until then, everybody, stay safe. And as I always say, happy painting. Bye.